We've got a front moving in tomorrow. There could be some strong thunderstorms and cooler temperatures Tuesday. Weather updated around the clock on 540 BHL. Updated morning. Set the Weather Channel.
Great to have you with us on a Monday morning. I hope you had a terrific weekend. On television, in this town, with the exception of John Morgan, I have to believe among attorneys that Dan Newland is the most omnipresent. I mean, you see him all the time. He's a personal injury attorney, does a lot of work in defending folks who are suspected of DUI. Drunken driving. And it was an interesting story that emerged in the wee hours of Friday morning that I want to take you through here, because there are a number of questions that I have about how all of this has unfolded. Dan Newland has been arrested and charged with drunken driving. Okay? This was over in the Conroy and Winter Garden Roads area in the wee hours of Friday morning. And I'm looking at the news reports, and I'm looking at the police reports here. And apparently the gal he was out with, his girlfriend, she's driving, and she goes through a red light. So the cops try to stop her, and they finally have to cut her off to stop her. And so they stop her, and it looks to them as though she's been drinking, okay? But she's the secondary player here for purposes of all the issues I want to raise related to the whole Dan Newland story and DUI. And I want to shed some light on a lot of questions that I have and you may have about what are your rights in a situation like that. When they want you to take these various tests, when they want you to blow into a breathalyzer, if you say no, what are the consequences of that? So we're going to get into all of that. We're going to try to bring on a legal expert a little bit later on in this half an hour. So stay with me here, and you may also have some input for me and be able to shed some light on me and enjoy some anonymity on the radio if you've been in a situation where you have been stopped under suspicion of DUI. 407-916-5400 is my main number. But at any rate, so Dan Newland is trailing behind, and apparently he pulls his car up ahead of his girlfriend's car that has been stopped by the Orlando police officer, okay? And he stops and he walks back to them because, among other things, he happens to have her driver's license, which he wants to present to the cops who are dealing with her. So, ultimately, Orlando police arrest Dan Newland on suspicion of drunk driving. More on what their police report shows in a moment. But let me tell you what Dan Newland is saying here, because he is certainly entitled to the presumption of innocence, and he isn't buying any of this. Dan Newland, his quote to the press, I'll say one thing 100%. The facts will show that Dan Newland, he's talking in the third person about himself, that Dan Newland was not impaired while driving. He was not cited for any traffic violations, had stopped to assist other motorists, a friend, and then was detained by an overzealous OPD officer that knew me by name and immediately detained me. I felt as though when I was stopped, he made a decision immediately that I was going to be his trophy for the night. I felt comfortable getting behind the wheel, having 2 drinks. I didn't feel I was impaired. In fact, I wasn't impaired beyond the legal limit. Now, let me just say this, and I've got attorney Matt Englert from KEL Attorneys here, all right, who's coming on the line with us, and I want to get his legal expertise on all of these issues. I will tell you what the police report says, that Dan Newland appeared to them to be obviously impaired by alcohol. It wound up that he wouldn't take any of the tests, and they arrested him, and he was taken to the Orange County Jail, and he bonded out on Saturday morning. And that's kind of where we are. I'll give you more details as we go along. But Matt's very busy this morning with other media commitments, and I wanted to bring him on here. Matt, welcome back to Bud Hedinger Live. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Bud. Thanks for having me.
What can you tell us on the Dan Newland story, your comments, and also on your advice to people in a scenario like Dan Newland faced?
Well, I tell you, he didn't do any field sobriety exercises at the scene, and he also didn't submit to any type of breath test or blood test. So from what I have read, they really do not have much evidence to convict him of a DUI. Now, they may go forward since he's a public figure, and it may even go to a trial and to a jury, but I think the state's going to have an uphill battle in convicting Dan of a DUI in this case.
Well, let me ask you, should anyone who was stopped in that scenario refuse a breathalyzer? Would your legal advice be to refuse it and to refuse any field sobriety tests?
I would always refuse field sobriety exercises. They're extremely subjective, and any officer can testify that you didn't perform them well. As far as the breath test goes, if you think you might have had too much to drink, then you shouldn't submit to it. But if you know you've only had 1 drink over a period of an hour or so, or maybe 2 drinks over a period of several hours, then go ahead and blow on it, because that can exonerate you. But if you think you may be at or over that legal limit, then you shouldn't submit to the breath test either.
Now, am I correct on this? I went and did a little bit of legal research because I'm not an attorney and you are, and that's why I've got you here. And this is what I read. Is this correct? Florida law permits a person to refuse to submit to testing 1 time without any criminal penalty, but there are consequences with regard to your driver's license if you refuse to take their so-called sobriety tests. The Florida DMV, motor vehicles, will suspend your license for 1 year.
Yes, they can do that.
That's pretty rough.
It is rough, and it's been hotly debated over the years. But Florida has said that driving is a privilege, and part of that privilege is that you will aid us in a DUI investigation, and if you don't aid us in a DUI investigation, we can suspend your license. Now, you're still entitled to have what's called an administrative hearing, and I'm sure Dan is going to do that. And at this administrative hearing, you can present evidence that you were not impaired, and there is a chance he could win that hearing and his license would not be administratively suspended. So you do have a hearing, but it's not a judge. It's just an employee with the Department of Motor Vehicles.
And one thing that kind of surprised me, Dan Newland was not in his car, and they arrested him for driving under the influence when he wasn't driving.
Well, he was driving. He pulled up to the scene, and they saw him pull up, get out of his car.
So there's no problem for the cops on that, even though he wasn't in the car when they actually made the arrest.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be an issue because they're the wheel witness. They saw him behind the wheel.
Matt Englert, attorney for KEL, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me, guys. Have a good day.
You bet. More coming up, 407-916-5400. I haven't even begun to raise some issues here on the Dan Newland story. You'll want to hear this and comment as well. 407-916-5400. Real-time traffic and weather together on the 2s. Boy, here we are with that changeable Florida weather. Maybe some storms tomorrow, 90 degrees today. I mean, it really does a number on that paint job, doesn't it? And all of a sudden you're paying thousands of dollars to a painter, and you're wondering, didn't we just do that 4 or 5 years ago? Sure, because in this climate, paint's never going to hold up. You need something that's an alternative to paint, something with durability. You need Colorcrete. Colorcrete, you have a 25-year guarantee on the job from Colorcrete of Central Florida. It goes on like thick paint. They make it right here in Orlando. Great family-owned business. Jim Dawson and his family and his crews are just absolutely the most wonderful folks to deal with, and they've got the alternative to paint. Don't paint, Colorcrete. Get a 25-year guarantee. Get things paint can't provide. A protective barrier against wind-driven rain. It'll prevent mildew, put a stop to peeling, chalking, and cracking. Great Colorcrete price, oh yes, but they've reduced it 10% now, and they'll give you a free pressure cleaning of your driveways and sidewalks. Don't miss this opportunity. It starts with a free estimate from Colorcrete. Please tell them the Bud Man sent you. I love these folks at Colorcrete. 407-851-3442, and you will too. 407-851-3442. Online, colorcreteusa.com. Hey, if you're in the market for a luxury car, I want you to think Acura. I want you to think anew. I want you to think Acura, Fountain Acura. These are incredible machines I have been test driving, and I think they are the equal or superior to any other luxury brand I have ever experienced. At Fountain Acura right now, on their top-of-the-line sedan, the RL that I'm driving, and their top-of-the-line 7-passenger fabulous MDX SUV, amazing financing rates for you as low as 0.9% on brand-new RLs and MDXs at Fountain Acura. Hey, if you're driving an Acura and you love it as much as I do, you want to continue with it and you want to upgrade your current Acura model to a brand new, similar 2011 Acura, no money down at Fountain and a similar monthly payment. You can't beat it. It's Fountain Acura, the one and only. Check them out. South OBT, just south of the Florida Mall. Online, fountainacura.com. Personal injury and DUI attorney Dan Newland arrested on charges of DUI over the weekend. He says, "No way I was drunk. I was victimized by an overzealous cop who recognized me and wanted a trophy." Boy, as an honorary member of the sheriff's office, that's going to put him in real good stead down there. As the former sheriff's detective, that's got to be viewed in a pretty unsavory light, I would think. You're attacking the cops. An overzealous cop. Wow. How about that, Jeff?
Yeah, you know what? To be honest, though, from what I've read and how things apparently went down, I'm inclined to believe him right now.
Well, I'll give you some more about how it went down from the police report in just a moment, but I do want to take some calls on this. 407-916-5400. The overzealous cop comment I just thought was quite interesting, given the fact that he was a cop himself, and he always brags about that in his TV commercials. And I guess he's like an honorary member or something. I think they've suspended that now pending this investigation. Here are a couple of key questions that I have. In the police report, the cop who ultimately arrested him actually writes this: "I gave him additional latitude based on his status in the community as a public figure." What? Equal justice for all? Why in the world should there be preferential treatment? And it's admitted to right in the police report. And also, he asked that his mugshot not be published, and it has not been. How in the world does he get that done? You stop for DUI, that mugshot is out there, and if the press wants to print it, it will be in the paper and on television. According to the Channel 6 report, because he's a former law enforcement officer, Newland has requested his mugshot not be released, and that option is provided to current and former law enforcement officers for their protection? What? Why should they avoid the public humiliation that everybody else might face? It's a former law enforcement officer, and he gets the option of not having... What is that all about? That practice needs to end. And I don't want to be reading in police reports that, well, he's a public figure, so I gave him a little extra latitude. Ultimately arrested him, of course. He denies all the charges. They were out to get him because he was their trophy. And that's the deal. Danny's in Deltona on BHL weighing in on all this. Danny, good morning on the Dan Newland case.
Hey, good morning, Bud. How you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
Not too bad. Thanks for everything you do for us. Good show there you got.
Thank you.
Yeah, one more thing to touch on the failure to submit to sobriety. If you fail to give a urinalysis or a blood sample, the first time is a 1-year suspension, which is no work permit, and for 6 weeks. The second time you do it, it's 5 years, no work permit for 18 months, and it stays on your record for life. I got a DUI, stopped for suspicion of DUI 10 years ago this summer, and that still haunts me.
It's interesting that Newland may face that, and Attorney Matt Englert said, but he would advise you don't take any of this stuff there, even though you do run this risk here, and as you understand, it can just completely disrupt your entire life. Good points you make. 407-916-5400. Where are you on the Newland case? I wonder how much this might compromise his law practice, given that he deals so much in DUI and personal injury, etc. Prominent attorney Dan Newland, arrested for DUI. 407-916-5400 on the phones in 60 seconds. 722, updating your real-time traffic and weather together in the middle of a Monday commute. All right, thanks a lot. Appreciate it, Courtney. Sunny and hot today, up to 91. We're at 71 degrees here. Right to the phones in a second. But Jeff was saying, well, I'm thinking maybe they kind of did go after him just because he's so well known. Here's what the police report says. After they had flagged down the girlfriend, and Newland comes up and parks ahead and walks back with her driver's license. What that's all about, I have no idea, but be that as it may. The report says, a few minutes later, I observed Dan Newland, the defendant, had parked his car 150 feet down Conroy, walking toward us, toward the patrol vehicle. and I advised my partner, fellow officer, my observations, and I went to speak with the defendant, who is the boyfriend of this gal and was in possession of her Florida driver's license. As he approached, this is Newland, I noticed he walked with a side-to-side stagger, the report says. I could smell the overpowering odor of the impurities of alcohol coming from his exhaled breath. His eyes were red and bloodshot. His face appeared to be flushed. His mouth appeared to be dry. He stated he had his girlfriend's license. When he spoke, I could smell the odor of impurities of alcohol increase. It was obvious that he had been drinking, and I asked how much he had been drinking. He stated 2 drinks. I asked him to walk to the front of the Kia, which was her car, and my patrol vehicle. While walking, I noticed he did so with a side-to-side stagger. He said he was walking on a grass median that would make anybody bob and weave a little bit. Okay? I told him of my observations about him and asked that he consent to several field sobriety exercises. He stated he did not want to do so, at which time I informed him that he was not required to consent to field sobriety exercises. However, if he did not, I would only have my observations of him to determine whether or not he would be arrested for DUI, and that based on my observations to that point, he would be arrested for DUI, and the fact that he refused would be used against him in court. And then there's that I gave him extra latitude because he's a public figure. What an outrage that is. By the way, the defendant also in the police report indicated he would take a breath test, but he subsequently refused and never did. So that's what we have there. Here's Tom in Orlando on the Dan Newland DUI case. Good morning, Tom.
Hey, Bud. How are we doing this morning?
Outstanding. Good Monday morning to you. What are your thoughts as you listen to all of this?
You know, my thoughts as I listen, Bud, is immediately, you know, we side with the police. Immediately, you know, this couldn't be a cop who was overzealous not to get him. Let's just simply look at Windermere. Basically, every cop we look at in Windermere here was corrupt and fixing tickets. And so here we just automatically assume that an attorney who deals with DUI all day long would walk up to a cop drunk. Actually, I think the man's probably a little bit brighter than that, and I don't necessarily just side him on the point that the cops are always right or always honest.
But he's kind of one of them. Wouldn't they be inclined to cut Newland some slack? He was a professional courtesy. He was a former sheriff's detective. Prominently featured in his TV. If they're going after anybody, they wouldn't want to go after someone who was one of their own, would they? Why would they? Why would they have it in for Dan Newland? Why would they have it in for Dan Newland?
Because
he's helping to get the drunks off the road, you know. Well, he's trying to defend the drunks.
You can never say all, but the huge majority of these cops are on power trips. And here's one of their own that left their ranks, went out, became a prominent attorney, and now they got a chance to...
I'm not going to let that stand, Tom. That is not my experience with the police in Central Florida. The vast preponderance of them are not on power trips. They're doing a tough job, and they're doing a damn good job at it. Now, there are exceptions to that, but you're saying that's the rule. I'm saying it's the exception.
Well, I'm saying, Bud, that you know what, when let's just call it 1 in 5 is doing that, you know, look at cops pushing.
I don't know. There are no statistics out there. Power trip, non-power trip. It's all speculation, Tom. Now, have you been nailed a couple of times for DUI?
Never.
Okay.
Never arrested.
So you've never had this experience, and neither have I.
I go through life with my eyes open, and I refuse not to think. I look just in a little town of Windermere at the nonsense going on there. The ticket tickets.
Well, okay, Windermere, yeah.
Going on in OPD, Orange County? Of course it is.
Well, okay, but I'm just not going to have you indict law enforcement with a blanket like that. I'm just not, I'm sorry. I'm not going to let it stand. Here's Alan in Claremont on BHL. Good morning, Alan.
Hey, good morning, Bud. You know the disadvantages of being on hold for a long time is you change your thought the more I hear Bud talk. So you had more things thrown in since I was put on hold. But this thing about the sobriety is kind of strange. He mentioned, and you just mentioned, and Dan Newland walking, staggering along the grassway. Recently, a friend of mine, I'm a teetotaler, and we did some construction work at his house, went up and he got a beer or so, and we went to one of the box stores to get some stuff. He got pulled over wearing flip-flops, and they asked him to do a sobriety test. And local Lake County area, they had a supervisor there. It was 2 cops. He asked the supervisor that the supposedly arresting officer do a sobriety also on film, and he did it, and then my friend did it. And it was amazing. The deputy said, you know, you did better than my deputy on the walk. And that does big part into things about where you walk. If you're walking on grass.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm sure it'll come up when Newland. I have to believe he defend himself, right, in court. I mean, who else would Dan Newland go to? There are just two things to put a button on this, and I'll take some calls if you want during Open Mind Monday in our 8 o'clock hour. But there is no excuse for a police report including the line, "I gave Newland additional latitude based on his status in the community as a public figure." That's an outrage. And no one, law enforcement or otherwise, should be able to opt out of a public mugshot. You can't defend that. And I won't. Other than that, this is where we are on the Newland case. Interesting calls, and we'll watch it and see what unfolds. Now, they're all cheering each other in Washington. The president, Boehner, Reid, across party lines, bipartisanship. We averted a government shutdown and the end of life as we know it on Friday night. As I said off the top at 6 o'clock, and I'll reset on this moments from now, and I hope you're with me on this, I want to throw them all in the Potomac. I'm not happy with what happened on Friday night. I'll tell you why as we continue. Good Monday morning at 7:30.
Tax Foundation. He says Florida gets the edge because of the different tax burden here. State tax burden for Florida is below the average, so it pushes Florida just a little earlier than the rest of the country. He says it's also a good time to take a look at what you pay and ask if you get your money's worth. Junior Nelson's three-pointer at the buzzer was disallowed. The Magic lost by 3, 102-99 to the Chicago Bulls. 540 WSLA News Time 7:32. I'm Michelle Morrow. Get these stories and more at 540WSLA.com. Coming up, more BHL. David Moss, Volkswagen Design Traffic Center. Westbound I-4 is slowing down now near Langberry Boulevard and Cedar Beach. Moving volume westbound along I-4 between 434 into Main Boulevard as well. Seeing pockets of heavy traffic eastbound along I-4 between John Young Parkway into Colonial Drive. Westbound along the 408 is building up between King Road and Golden Rose. No reported problems along 528 or the Turnpike. From the Traffic Center, I'm Courtney Bray.
Traffic on air online is service in Allstate. April showers can bring wet roads and more accidents. So before you get behind the wheel, put yourself in good hands. Call a local agent, 888-ALLSTATE, or visit allstate.com. Dollar for dollar, nobody protects you like Allstate. Half off your wedding TV's bridal show. ODealsDaily.com.
From 540 WSLA, Orlando's 24-hour weather channel. Off to a great start. Sunny and hot, close to record-setting high temperatures again today, topping out at 93. We've got a front moving in tomorrow that could bring some strong thunderstorms and cooler temperatures Tuesday. Weather updated around the clock on 540 WSLA. I'm David Maddox at the Weather Channel.
I got to tell you, I am more fired up than ever based on what did and did not happen with the budget deal on Friday night that averted the government shutdown. I'm going to comment on that in a moment here. Because everyone in Washington is backslapping and high-fiving across party lines and congratulating themselves on the wonderful work they did on behalf of the American people, okay? Oh, please. There's going to be a major Tea Party event this Friday in Orlando where the Tea Party movement really began in this town at the amphitheater at Lake Eola. And I'll be emceeing it from 4 until 6 this Friday afternoon. I want you to be there with me. It is on Tax Day. It is a Tax Day Tea Party co-hosted by Central Florida Tea Party Council, FairTaxPatriots.org, the West Orlando Tea Party, Clyde Fabretti and the gang tying it all together. They've asked me to be the MC. Guess what? Marco Rubio is the main speaker, and Herman Cain will be speaking. More information on the website, more to come, but mark it down and be with us this Friday, 4 to 6 at Lake Eola for this incredible Tea Party event. We are going to continue doing what we have done since we birthed the Tea Party movement here in Central Florida, railing on out-of-control and unresponsive government, demanding downsizing of government, responsible spending, living within our means, living and governing according to the Constitution. We, the people, will rise up again. Be with me Friday, 4 to 6 at Lake Eola, will you? It would be an honor to meet each and every one of you, and I'm privileged to be the MC. Thank you for that opportunity extended me. Now, I don't know. How did you feel on Friday night? If you watched all the mainstream media reporting over the weekend, you told them they averted a government shutdown. They worked together. Harry Reid, John Boehner, Barack Obama, kumbaya. They got together. They got it done. It's wonderful. We've got a deal. They cut almost $39 billion in spending, which actually, believe it or not, to show you how we have no experience in living within our means in this country, that's the most ever cut by Congress at one time in spending in the history of the country. $39 billion. And it says, that's a lot of money, Bud, man. You got to give them credit. You got to stop beating up on them up there. These people are working hard. They're working all day and they're working all night. They're working across party lines. And it's bipartisanship, Bud, man, and you're just never happy. Oh, please. Do you know in the 7 days it took them to cut that deal, with all the machinations and all the hand-wringing and all the head-bashing and whatever else, and all the pontificating, 7 days to cut $39 billion, the debt, the national debt in 7 days went up another $54 billion. Now, if that isn't case closed on why you should have as big a problem as I have with what happened and didn't happen in Washington, boy, that's Exhibit A, isn't it? That's unbelievable. And now comes President Barack Obama, who in his State of the Union only wanted a spending freeze and was really proud of that. He and the Democrats got kicking and screaming into cutting anything. Boy, you can't cut this. We've got to invest in this. We got to invest in this. We got people who need these services, people who are deserving of the government's assistance. We've got to be compassionate. We can't be cruel-hearted like you Tea Party conservatives. There's only so much we can cut. Now comes Barack Obama, who on Wednesday night, we now know, is apparently going to make a speech to the nation calling for major reform, major cuts in spending, even cutting the entitlements. Medicare and Medicaid, the most liberal president we have ever had in this country, is going to get up there and suddenly call for cuts in entitlements. Jeff shaking his head. This is all positioning for the 2012 re-election bid by this president. This is a big deception. This is a big lie. This is an opportunity to grab the momentum he hopes from the Republicans who've stolen the limelight and are really the ones who are standing in the gap trying to keep us from completely going into the abyss and collapsing financially. And he's going to try to be the president, grab the flag, charge to the head of the line, and all of a sudden make this his own issue.
The definition of a dog and pony show is what this was. There was no chance of this ever being a serious shutdown, nothing ever really good coming out of it. It was engineered so one group could try to take credit and whoever could steal and seize the momentum from it, like you just said.
No matter what.
Unbelievable. Enough. I mean, I'm sorry, gang. You know, I love this country, but you can't sell me that anything good happened on Friday night. Anthony in Winter Garden, how do you see it?
I am angry. I am so angry, but it's unbelievable what went on. First of all, that's not a cut, that's a dent, number one. Number two, Planned Parenthood all of a sudden was not in this deal.
Yeah, they took the riders out. That was a concession by Boehner.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
You need to be there at 4 o'clock at Lake Eola Friday for the Tea Party.
I will be there.
You come see me, Anthony. God bless you, my patriotic friend. 407-916-5400. Somebody tell me I should be excited and grateful for what was done in Washington in averting that government shutdown with the numbers I just quoted you. 407-916-5400. Are you kidding me? It's pathetic. 742 on BHL. Hey, you want to get serious about righting your fiscal ship? How about saving some serious money on your homeowner's insurance through Florida Insurance Specialists and their amazing technology, all pegged to their incredible website, challengemyrate.com. One of my listeners who was really paying through the nose with Allstate for homeowners, $6,000 a year they saved by being switched quickly to Mercury Insurance by my friends at Florida Insurance Specialists. That's incredible, isn't it? How much can you save? It's your money. Find out. Florida Insurance Specialist. You go to their website right now. Prepare to be amazed. ChallengeMyRate.com. Try it. You'll love this. ChallengeMyRate.com. Learn more. Give them a call today on the Budman's Best, 407-805-0200. Well, the incredible shrinking Bud Man. I continue to be a crusader for the Medifast weight loss program that turned me into that. Across Central Florida, I talk to people about losing weight and being able to keep it off, and what a wonderful way to go it is with the Medifast weight loss program available at your Medifast Center. New center is convenient in Lake Mary and in Winter Park with help from your Medifast counselor. That's part of the deal in this incredible, wonderful plan developed by doctors. It's just so healthy, and the weight comes flying off. I lost 75 pounds in 6 months, 11.5 pounds in the first 2 weeks. I mean, it was just incredible, and it was so easy to do. If you want to get serious about losing some weight for your health, your life, your appearance, you can't do better, I believe, than the Medifast weight loss program at your Medifast Center with your Medifast counselor helping you every step of the way. You can do this. You can lose up to 2 to 5 pounds a week, up to 2 to 5 pounds a week. How about getting started? Truly, if the Bud Man can do this, you can do it. You call them right now. Your Medifast Center, 1-888-9-MEDIFAST, 1-888-9-MEDIFAST. It's Monday. New week. How about a new you? It starts today. Medifast, 1-888-9-MEDIFAST. Online, medifastflorida.com. $30 apiece on the government shutdown that didn't impress the Bud Man, the $39 billion cut. How are you feeling about it, Pat in Kissimmee? Good morning.
Yeah, this is Man in Kissimmee, Bud. I'm upset about the cuts in the budget, but with the fanatics in the Senate, this is all we could have got at this time. Does that make sense?
So you think it's the best that we could have done? Shouldn't have held out for more. I would have shut the government down.
Yeah, but if we do that, then you know that we're going to be blamed for it later down the road.
Yeah, I could give a rip. We got bigger issues. We really do, Pat. Matt, and I appreciate you, though. Thank you. Corey in Kissimmee, 30 seconds on the government shutdown deal.
Yes, but I'm definitely, I think we should have definitely gotten more. But I was going to tell you, Friday I was getting my oil changed, and they had the Corrupted News Network playing all this stuff in the lobby.
Yeah.
And what really infuriated me was all the people that were sitting there actually believing it. All these uneducated people that just sit there and believe everything that was going on. I had to get up.
Oh, look at that. They all got together and they stopped the government shutdown. This is really pretty good. This is, they all getting along up there and they're doing the people's work. I can see them all sitting there, Corey. I can absolutely picture it. Yes, I can. Right now, I got a government shutdown Budman's Brainbuster question, and I've got prizes up for grabs if you can answer it right. Hop on the phone with me, the Brainbuster, in 60 seconds. 407-916-5400. Toll free, 1-866-916-5400. Traffic and weather now. Checked on the twos. Good morning at 7:52. All right, Courtney, we're looking at sunny and hot today. 91, 72 already here in Orlando. What do we got up for grabs for the winner when I ask that Brainbuster question about 30 seconds from now, Jeff?
You will win Orlando Philharmonic Orchestra tickets for Saturday, April 23rd. They're doing a little number called Paul McCartney, a Symphonic Tribute.
They're going to have Paul McCartney.
There you go.
He's not going to be there, but he's going to be playing his music for the Beatles.
Mike. I win the bet.
You know I'd do that.
Yep, see, I knew you'd go to some kind of Beatles impression.
I am so cheesy that I've just become just painfully predictable to you guys.
You're making me a lot of free breakfasts and money. I bet on you all the time, and I win. So keep doing what you're doing. Don't stop now.
You can tell when I'm going to get misty-eyed when I'm talking about the family or the troops.
I've learned quite a bit.
Voice. Okay, all right.
Keep doing what you're doing.
That's all I am, is a carnival sideshow to the guys in the control room. Anyway, we've got a full bank of phones, but if somebody gets the wrong answer, wait for the buzzer. When Jeff hits it, the line goes dead, and you can grab it and be a late-round winner at 407-916-5400, okay? We narrowly averted the government shutdown that would have meant the end of life as we know it in these United States. We've been talking about it. Oh, we've been down the government shutdown road before in this country. The one you all think about is the one with Clinton and Gingrich in the mid-1990s, okay? That was 21 days. However, how many total days has our government been shut down? How many total days? Add all the government shutdowns over all of the years. How many days does it add up to? You can win the prize if you know the answer. Let's go to line one. Line one.
Hello?
Hello, line one. How many days?
Are you asking? No, I'm not calling in for that. I'm sorry.
What are you calling in for? What else would she be calling in for? Let's go to line two. That line's open. Grab it at 407-916-5400. All the government shutdowns. How many days total was the government shutdown, line two?
20.
No, it's much more than 20. Open line. Here's line three. Go ahead, line three.
56.
Keep on going. Not high enough. Let's go to line four. How many days total have we shut this government down?
90.
Keep on going, but you're closing in. Toll free is next on the Brainbuster question. Toll free.
100.
Closing in, still not quite there. Let's go to line one. Line one, take it. Line one.
Yeah, let's get rid of the foreign aid that we're paying everybody.
Okay, sorry, that would not be the answer. That would be the question. However, I'm asking the questions now. It's the Budman's Brainbuster question segment, okay? Line two, what do you think?
126.
Now you've overshot the runway. That's too many. It's between 126 and 100. Line three, go ahead, take your shot.
How about 115?
Just a little bit lower, and we're going to find a winner. Line four, you're next.
112.
Ooh, man, you're getting close. Let's go to the toll-free now. Toll-free. Nope, not happening. Line one, you're up next.
102.
No, too low. So between 112 and 102, and 112 is warmer. Line two, go ahead, take the prize. Line two, you got to have the radio down. Okay, we got a delay. Listen through the phone. Here's line 3. Go ahead, line 3.
111.
You're as close as you can possibly get, but you're not our winner. Line 4, what's the number?
110.
110 total days, over 17 government shutdowns. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Wyatt in Mount Dora.
Wyatt, fantastic. Hang on the line. We're going to get you the prizes, and congratulations. Okay, what a Masters golf tournament. I'm still breathless. I've never seen a log jam like that on Sunday in Augusta. Tiger made an incredible run that really made it interesting. And then a guy I don't think I've ever heard of winds up winning it. This guy birdies the last 4 holes, Jeff. Charles Schwartzel or something like that.
Yep, I think you got it right, South African. He made every shot to earn that win. There's no getting around it. But it had so many things, like you said. It had Tiger, which obviously made the TV people happy. You had a logjam of other really good golfers who had a chance. And then you also had the story of the poor guy collapsing who was in the lead.
Rory McIlroy
just losing it. Your heart goes out to that guy. Just breaks it to see him do that. So it had everything you'd want in a back 9 at Augusta.
High drama, and I love the way they do the telecast with almost no commercial interruptions. I mean, it's all this action. Bang for golf. It's incredible. One shot after another. It was fantastic. Also fantastic, the political analysis we get from Lou Fry, the former congressman and our 540 WFLA political analyst. He is coming up in his new day and his new time, talking about the budget deal, talking about the Florida budget, and talking about what the Chinese were saying at the Lou Fry Symposium. You don't want to miss this because he says it was some pretty scary stuff. 7:58 on BHL.